Now what I want to do for you is I want to go ahead and show you the rest of my process, which different avenues I kind of went down and explored. So I'll just move on here. That's one option, and I kind of looked at it, thought it had a little bit of pop. Once again, I'm using the same lines, same geometry. Then I think I went a little bit step further and said I took an image offline, some old paper, and I put that on there as an effect. Kind of wanted to give it more of a vintage, kind of a grungy look. There's also a little bit more going on there. Let me go ahead and show you how that went ahead and went on. There was a little pink thing going on. Move the paper. Alright, now if I go ahead and remove the white and black thing, the sketch lines here, you'll see that I basically have these almost watercolor like marks, paint like marks. Those were created using the paintbrush and using the watercolor brushes. I think this one's actually got a particular name. What's it called? Light wash brush, which I modified and made pink. Now once you have the brush tool, if I actually need to select the brush tool, you can paint in the same color and they kind of overlap. What I did in particular is I changed my mode to multiply. So now every time I went over, you know, maybe you mess with the opacity a little bit, you know, so, and that's how I went ahead and got those areas in. But if you can see, it's not detailed, it's very crude. It was done in a few moments. It was just me kind of exploring which route to go ahead and take. So let's move on a little bit further. A similar thing, maybe a black and white look. Then I move a little bit further. I actually went ahead and I thought using that background off, which was just an image of a paper that I found online. I didn't own the rights to that, so I didn't want to use that, so I decided to go ahead and create my own, which I actually did. I think there's a, oh, here we go. I started by really just doing some random brush strokes on here. As you can see, this is made in Illustrator. This is not an image that I pulled in. It's this is the wireframe mode, which you can get from doing Control Y. So I made this in Illustrator. I've exported it as a JPEG, and then I brought it back in and did some more Illustrator effects to it. If you're ever away from your main window, you can always press Control-0, which will bring you, well, to your selection if you have something selection. But if you don't have something select, oh no, if you're on that, it'll bring you to the artboard that you have active. So it'll kind of bring everything to you, Control-0. And yeah, so this is kind of the different, well, some of the different routes that I went through. But before I brought it into Photoshop, I chose to go with, I guess, this one. No, let me bring that out. You know, minus all this, of course. So I went ahead and took this one. I exported it at 72 DPI, which is gonna vary for everyone, so you can use whatever works for you. But what is important is this one thing. Once you have the file, you go ahead and export it. Let me bring this into your view. The file that I exported roughly came out to 3000 by 2000. In this particular case, it's 2917 by 2083. So that actually becomes important, because when you put things into Photoshop, a lot of the effects that they have can look kind of different if you have too high of a resolution file or too low of a resolution file. So I would say that this is as high as I could really get it to go and still have the effect that I was looking for, was the 2917 and the 2083, which I feel is relatively high. Definitely more higher than anything you need for most digital screens. So let's just pop into Photoshop. Here is everything in Photoshop here. And I'm going to go to Filter, Oil Paint. One of the things I took off was the shine, no shine. So with the shine off, it doesn't matter what angle or direction you have. Then I took the cleanness all the way up, the scale all the way up, the stylization all the way up. And let me zoom in so you can see what actually is going on there. So as you can see, like I said, I put the stylization all the way up, the cleanness all the way up, and the scale all the way up, and it just barely gets me that effect that I was looking for, because the size of the image was so large in the first place. So the scale, I had to put it max, and this was the result that you get here. So in this case, it's lacking a little bit of contrast. So I just went to Image, Adjustment, Levels. I prefer levels myself. I noticed that there's no pure white. There should always be just a smidgen of pure white, I guess. And so bringing in that, make it a little bit darker, much more pop to that, a lot more pop. So it just sticks out at you. And that's basically it. That's my finished product that I went ahead and ended up making. And as you can see, it has no parts of the original image is actually there. So it's not a collage or a montage. So try this out. You know, I'd like to see something else done with this. You know, let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to clarify anything, but that's pretty much it. Peace.